All right, we are live with a new session. Last time, a couple of days ago, we had a good milestone. We finished up one of the most complex services in this entire project, and now we get to kind of move forward and see where else we can kind of complete other tasks. I'm trying to find the architecture here, Omar, just so we can see. Here it is. So let's go back here to our architecture. Here you go. All right, here it is. So, okay, so as far as you and I know, this SQL generation processing service is completed, right? So all the way up to OpenAI broker, AI service, and then SQL generation processing service, all of this is in good shape. Now, the question here is, what's the state of things in the other side of the world? Um, the red ones, we consider them as blocked efforts. We're going to take a look at them today and see where things stand, and then we're just going to keep going forward with our architecture here. Eventually, I think this is where the architecture is going to settle. Just a quick note for people who are interested in system design and architecture. It's never going to be the very first architecture you talk about, right? If you don't believe me, and this is the whole reason why I record these sessions, just so people kind of see with their own eyes what does it really look like, an actual project, how engineers work with each other, and all that. It doesn't really like it's not it's not a the favorite cup of tea for everyone, but it's definitely kind of a great documentation to kind of bring people kind of up to speed with this particular kind of mindset, what software engineering is really about, right? So let me just show you here where we started, right? The start of this architecture
I
was like,
remember it was just like two paths.
yep, just too bad, right? It
Two
was just
paths, yeah.
so let me refresh the screen here. I don't know. Yeah, there it is. So look, that was what it was, right? I said there is an OpenAI piece and there's a Dapper piece, right? That was the original video. This is the introduction to entity intelligence, right? We basically went and said, okay, this is how this is gonna look like, and we're just gonna call OpenAI, and we're gonna get the data structure and all that. And then when we started kind of putting the kickoff, I think that was originally with Kailu, and then you guys started joining in. Let me just show you. Here's what we thought was the situation, right? And we started digging a little bit deeper into it. If your architecture is not standard compliant, you're gonna hit a situation. What I mean by standard compliant, meaning it's extensible. It can shift and you can move these components around and all that, right? Like up until just a couple of sessions ago, we thought this entire section in purple was going to be part of this group, right? And then we have our rules. We're trying to apply our rules. So we were able to kind of shift it around a little bit. Sometimes it'll take a little bit of work, but it definitely pays off. So just keep that in mind. Nobody, I don't care if it's Martin Fowler, I don't care if it's Sam Newman, I don't care if it's the biggest, senior architects around the world for software architecture. If your architecture can't support our imperfections as people, and our inability to see into the future and predict, the changes, it's going to be a torture, for yourself and the engineers working with you, because you're going to have to follow that pattern, or you're going to have to break the pattern, and then it becomes a chaotic system, and everything just falls apart. I also want to mention something that's really important. The standard is evolving. I already talked a lot about this in multiple places. I talked about the lake house pattern. I talked about the standard 3.0. It's not always going to look like that, right? Because even with this style of architecture, I'm still trying to push really to Alan Kay's dream, the inventor of object-oriented programming, where everything is just an object and they are in this void, in this space, and it's just a graph of components talking to each other. The one challenge with all of this is that it introduces a little bit of what I would call organized chaos, if that's a thing. It's not an oxymoron, like a systematic chaos. You're basically going and saying, I want to design my systems in a way where there's all these different components just flying in the air. and these components basically send messages to each other, right? Um, it looks like a great idea on paper, but once you start designing an actual system that doesn't have this symmetry, like the standard enforces symmetry. It really enforces the ability to know where to start and where to begin. But if the standard 3.0 can't solve the issue of, like, it really would, like, your existing enterprise system would look something like this, which gives you a lot of flexibility with what you're doing. However, it's also becomes harder and harder to understand, and it may be just a problem in our understanding. Maybe computers programmed us to adhere to symmetry over, chaos, or systematic chaos. Anyway, just kind of giving you, like, one thing that we're learning from these projects is that it's never ever the original architecture. Just know for a fact, while you're writing down the architecture and starting a new project with your team, know for a fact that it will change. The question is whether that architecture can support mutation and morphing and changing as new requirements come in and new ideas come in. That's what makes the standard so special and so easy to work with. Okay, with that being said, Omar, I know that there is an open pending PR that Milan kind of put out there, and let's just take a look at it real quick together and see if we can at least resolve any conflicts there. Let's go over here. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so this is Entity Intelligence Project. And then there's just this one PR open, which is foundation run SQL query. So this is one foundation service that will run a SQL query, and we just need to resolve the conflicts. It wouldn't let me, I wonder why though, like use the command line to resolve conflicts here. Okay, let me pull that branch down and let's just see what's the blocker here exactly. So this is um, entity intelligence. Let me open up the project here. Let me increase the screen as well, just for people on their phones. Here's 150%. What do you think, Omar? Are you excited? We're getting really close. We can just knock out like two or three other services and we should be golden, you know. It's gonna be fantastic. All right, so here it is. Let me pull latest from main, and then let's pull this foundation service that Milan created, and let's just see what the conflict is. It's probably something that we can resolve real quick. Hopefully, we'll see. So here it is, and I'm just gonna type Milan. What's his? This is Gregory. This is Kailu. Oh, M Toncic. Toncic. Okay, and then he had a foundation service, right? He had a foundation service for running a SQL query. I think it's this one right here. Okay, so it's in naming conventions will help you a lot with the work that you're doing there. So now we just need to pull latest from main. So I'm gonna try to kind of get pull origin main. Here you go. So here's your auto merging, blah blah. Merge failed. Okay, so I should see a couple of issues. There it is. So this is both modified. I will try to click merge in here and just see. I'll just use Visual Studio to kind of try to figure out where the conflict is. So one of them says data information service, and the other says data service. Omar, I can't remember.
I think it's data that we.
It's data service,
Like, it doesn't make sense to say data information. They're both similar.
right?
I don't
So
remember. But the
yeah,
class is called data information also. It's like,
the class is called data information, right? But in here, the class is called data service tests. So this is unit services foundation dot dash dot datas, right? This one on the right side is the current. This one is main. This is what main looks like. And I don't remember us kind of using this at all in our
no.
flow. So I'll just take his then. I'll just
Yeah.
go and take his. I'll take his and see what happens. Okay, let's do it this way then. I will say accept merge. All right, let's see, the whole world falls apart. So, okay, so what else is in here? There's nothing else in here. That's just me saying merge like that, commit changes. Yeah, these are basically all the files that we created. Okay, cool. And then if I just do a rebuild, let's just hope things build up. So 5 successful, great. Now let's just run all the tests. Well, that's simpler than I thought. Okay, there we go. All right, fantastic, fantastic. So, okay, I'll just sync up his branch like that. Was not found in the remote. Why? Let's see here, git push. It says that it just created a new branch. I think um, he probably created it as a fork, not the original branch, but I think it synced up. So let's just go back here into the foundation pieces. I think this should refresh. It should. Am I not looking at the right one? So EI028 foundations query service. Yeah. Why is it still freaking out? That's okay. What I can do then, I could just copy that code and just create another branch. So here is users, Hassan Habib foundations, uh, uh, SQL run query or something like that. And now I own this, so I can push this upstream and it should be okay with that. Yeah, there you go. So I can create a pull request here. So here's a pull request, foundations, run SQL query, basically. There you go. So, okay, so this here takes care of the service. So this is the data service, data query service, right? So in his implementation, right, he has a data query service, and that's what this all about, really. Just although that I also see table metadata here, but I think that's just a name change. He didn't really write this from scratch. The stuff that he wrote from scratch is the data query service. So let's just go back to our architecture here while the build is running and see where we stand, right? So here's that. Here you go. So data query service. So I think it's this one here, right? So that's the data query service. And I don't know if he has to do anything here other than just a pass-through service for the query processing service, but I think this is really what he refers to as data query service, like that. Data query service. Okay, cool. What about the SQL parser broker? I remember that he created a pull request for that. I'm just
Yeah, I think there was one. Yeah.
let's see here. Let's see here what Milan merged really. Like, what's the state of the world here? So if I go back into um, Entity Intelligence core project, and I go to brokers, I see AIs and data. So this is the data broker. He should have put that under datas or something like that. But this is here's your SQL parser right here, right? So he did complete the parser piece. Cool, cool. Let's go back here and update this diagram. So this one is done. So did he create a SQL parser service? Let's see. I don't know if he had the chance to do that one. Just trying to kind of recollect what's missing. And okay, this is that. Services, foundations, AIs and data service. So the only thing we have here is the data service. And this data service, I'm assuming, is the one that goes and says um, retrieve table metadata.
Maybe actually we should call it metadata service just
We
for
should.
clarity. Yeah.
We should. So does this mean that this piece is also completed, which is fantastic? Does this mean that this guy is done? So this is the data service in here. Is there a data processing service? Let's take a look again. I don't know if we've gone that far, but let's just see. No, I don't think so. The only processing service that was implemented is the one that we created. Okay, so that's the state of things then. Then we have, these are the pieces of the architecture that are missing. So the next step here is this. The next step for this is this, right? And then there's a next step here. So these oranges basically is what's next for every flow, right? So since all of these are done, then the next step is this. And since all of these are done, then the next step is this. All right, cool. What was that SQL parser service for anyway? Do you remember? I don't remember what I asked him for. I think it's to determine whether something has a select in it or not, something like that.
Yeah, so we said there's some business logic that needs to happen. Yeah, to get the tokens and see if there is any select in it. Or
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. So before executing the query, it's supposed to basically go and um, uh, make sure that this is not destructive query. That's really what this is about. Okay, fantastic, fantastic. So look, my recommendation is that we pick up this one here. So I'm gonna shut down the lights on the rest of these. I'm thinking let's finish up at least this flow in here. So basically we do a data processing service, which is really just a pass through. I don't think it's going to do anything other than just calling the object and retrieving and pushing upstream. And then tomorrow we could do, no, tomorrow's Friday. Monday we would basically do the SQL generation orchestration service. So it takes care of this wing. And then we can switch over to this other wing to finish the rest of these services. What do you think?
Yeah, that's good with me.
So basically the request that will come in will call this data service first. This data service will give the table information. The table information will be passed to the SQL generation processing service. It will go and create that, get the query, and then the query basically will fly through to execute on the data query, but it has to validate through the SQL parsing processing service. Okay, cool.
Hassan, is there any remaining PRs? Because I still I think the code is missing few things. Like for
Uh,
example, the validation on the data service, the validation file is not there.
oh really? I'll get to that real quick. But this is the one that Milan pushed. Do you have any issues with the SQL query? This is the data query service. Let's see here. He does have validations in here. He did add, let's see, data query service, basically run the query, and he's basically validating the query. And the query validation is basically just this this basic stuff that he put in here, right?
Okay,
Again,
this is not the main. This is not main, right? This is you're looking at the PR.
that's the
Okay.
PR. Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's I'm looking at main. Sorry.
Okay, so let me merge that guy. So this is okay, we don't need this anymore because we tried to Milan, this is still your work. Your commits are still there. I'm just trying to, yeah, his commits are still there. I'm just trying to kind of get us going. So this is the run SQL query. So that's now merged, right? Let's go back to our Entity Intelligence main and see what the world looks like right now. So here's Entity Intelligence. Let me switch over to main. Let me pull all these details. There you go. And then let me just rebuild the world again and just make sure our solution is in good state. Here we go. Yep, this is all in good state. We have about 41 tests. Let's run all of these. Is it 41? It should be more than that, I think. Yeah, 58. 58 tests. That's right. And they all executed in super fast, almost no time. Okay, so what does so if you look at um, if you look at the data table metadata foundation service, this is the one that has no inputs, but it basically, there's no validation because it has no inputs on this one. But what it really does is that it's going to pull all the metadata. So this is table metadata. Is this what we feed our AI processing service? Let's take a quick look here. What does this guy, yeah, it takes table information. Where's table information supposed to come from? This is the name and the schema, and then there's the table column. Let me go back to the other service, which is the data information service. It serves table metadata that has schema and name. Did we just change the name for the same model? Is that what it is? Because look, these two are pretty much the same thing. Like if I split the world here, these here, at least on the AI processing service route. So look, name, schema, IEnumerable, table column, column metadata. Which one did we go with? Did we go, since the processing service is the one that's up to date, we should probably go with that, shouldn't we?
Yeah, the left one is the original name that we came up with, and I think Milan came up with the other name.
Yeah, that's what it
Mm.
is.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. Okay, so so that's one thing that we can work on today then, is just to clean up this stuff. So let me just do a new branch here. So users, Hassan, Habib, code rub, rename metadata to table information. There you go. All right. So that means that really anywhere where there is um, a table metadata, we're just going to change that into the other model, which is basically the table information. We even called this, we even called it data information system, right? I think we need to be a bit more consistent with the naming, but let's just change these real quick. So if I call this table information,
Maybe if you delete the file we don't want and all the errors we fix them.
yeah, that's fair. We could do that
Mm.
too. Yeah, I'm okay with that. So I could really take away, uh, and oh God, this is sitting all under, so column data, column metadata, um, results row. Where did he come up with the results row though? Is that validations, logics? Yeah, so let me get rid of these models. This will be a quick cleanup, I think, but let's just get rid of it real quick. So this is data information, and this is saying table metadata. This is where all these files are sitting together in. So I'll take the column data, column metadata, and table metadata. Is that right? That's all. And maybe results row? Let's do this. So I'll take these out. But I also see table column and table information, and I think that's what we're using, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Let's have it really just crash and burn. And so this table information. Let's start from the interface. This will be table information like that, which means that this interface will freak out. So we'll change all of that to table information. Go table information, table information, table information. Yeah, that's all of this. And then also we want the There is no column metadata. I think it's called columns. And then this is called the column, table column like that. It has a name and what is the type?
Just a type, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So that's easy. What else in here? This is execute. Does the broker confirm to anything? No. What did we feed the, so yeah, there you go. So this should be table information. There you go. And then whatever is retrieved in here, this guy takes what? It takes table information as input parameter, I think. So this will be name, I think, and this will be schema, something like that.
We don't
Uh,
we don't use the schema. Um, the
I,
schema
I
we add. Yeah.
I know. I don't know why he passed schema in there, honestly. Right. What is this guy saying here? It's saying type argument method, source function cannot be inferred from usage. Why? What is table information here? So table information. Table information. There. That's much better. And then this should be called type as well, I think. Column metadata. What are you? Table information. Let's see here.
Yeah, here we need the type, and we maybe just change it to table column instead of columns metadata.
Should this have been the column? Yeah, this should have been column information, table column. Yeah, so that means that this guy would be type. Yeah, there you go. I think. I think. Huh? So this should be table column like that. So what does this mean? It means that hang on, let's take a question. Denise says, Salam, which architecture are you people using? The standard. And how much does an architecture matter in a project? A lot, irrespective of how big is your problem. What do you think, Omar? How important is the architecture for a project? I think it's pretty important. Little.
Yeah, think of a house.
Yeah, if you're building a house without an architecture, what happens? You're screwed, right? Okay, I'm reverting this because I think I got something confused. This should be column, a table column, which means that this is a type. So far, so good. When it says table metadata, it really is table information.
Correct.
So this is table information, and this is table information. And when it says table column metadata, it actually means table column. So this means that this is a column, and this just kind of brings us back to this weird situation. Oh, there's type right there. Okay, so far so good then. And then this is table, so that's table information. Okay, and then this is table column. This guy should be happy. So that means that this is, I don't know why he mentioned schema in here. It's just type, I think. And then name. Am I getting that wrong? Something here is really weird. Oh, I see why. Because this is table column. There you go. Okay, so that cleans that up. And then this is table information. And then this is table column. Table column.
That's weird to be table column here. Like we are retrieving like the schema, right? For the tables. Why it's a table column?
Right. What was it before? It was, oh, it was that. Yeah, you're right. So that's table information. You're absolutely right. Right. So that's good catch. So that's that. And then this here, table column. So that's table column. But that's what this guy is retrieving. So should that be table information then? right? So that means that let's see here. This guy is supposed to return table information was correct, but it's expecting table column. What's the retrieved here? The retrieved is hmm, this execute query async in
It
here.
returns a list, returns an enumerable, right?
Right. It's a list of table information,
Mm.
right? So if this is table information and the retrieve table columns metadatas, why did we call it that? That's weird. If I just go here and do this, that should solve it. Hold on. Table information. Um, this will return enumerable table information, which is correct. This will take in table information, which is the same type as this guy, enumerable of table information. And that guy is supposed to return something. So is this here where you say schema then? Does this mean also that these grouped columns, the table metadata, does this mean that this is also table information? No, this should be a table column, I think. What am I missing here?
Can you look at line 43, like this two table metadata? So it selects.
It takes this group, right? And I think this is also written weird, very weird. Like why is it like that? Let's see here. These are two different parameters, right? And then you have this thing going on, right? So this guy is taking an I grouping of a tuple, which is table schema and table name, right? And also is taking, no, these two sitting in the same line actually. Ah, Milan, why did you do it this way? So these two, this whole thing is just one variable, basically. That's what threw me off.
Hmm.
Uh-huh. So now table information to tables metadata. Is this thing trying to convert to a completely different type that we're not aware of? So this is retrieved table to information metadatas. If I make this table column, but that doesn't make sense because this table information is really the table with the columns unless the
It,
type that's coming back from here, Omar.
hmm.
Yeah, that's right. No, that's right. So I think this is a table column, man, because the I'll tell you why. Because it comes back from the database like that. This is table column. But then why do we need the schema at all? I just don't see. Like, see, everything here is solved except for these two pieces, right? Or we think it's solved except for these
You
two
know, I
pieces.
think he had three models. We had two, so he's using it differently. It's not like one-to-one mapping. So maybe we should start actually by deleting table information, just the one model at a time. I know it got more
No,
complicated than I thought.
no, one sec. So he had table metadata, right?
Yeah.
And he had table column metadata.
Yeah, this one,
Where's the
which is
other model?
like if you look at your change list, there is three things you deleted, right? Or just two.
I deleted column data and column metadata and table metadata.
We don't have this column data. What is it exactly? Sorry.
Uh, this guy was just a name and a value,
This
but
looks like our table column, like this one, right?
I'll return all of them. I'll return all of them, but I still think that he's still only just using two models. Like at least in here, he's just using two models. You see here table metadata and table column metadata. Do you see anything else? See table
Yeah,
metadata and table column metadata. That's it.
yeah, you're right.
No, no, no. Wait.
Let's
You're actually right. Look at this.
come
There's
column.
column metadata,
Okay. What is that? I
right?
didn't see. Okay, yeah, yeah. So let's delete one by one, maybe.
The column metadata is what's coming from the outside world. I think that's what it is. So what's
Mhm.
inside table column metadata here? It's really table schema, table name and data type, which I don't think we have an equivalent. Were these models that we specified specifically just to communicate with that broker then? Okay, what's the contract in this? Because if we have the contract, that would be it. The contract that we communicate outside is just table information. Cool. This so far so cool. So if I go here and just change this one to table information like that, it's okay, hell will break loose, but we can bring it back together. That means that also our try catch in here should adhere to that contract. So this guy should be returning table information, right? So that means this is also table information. Okay, and I'll say this is returning table information function like that. Just cleaning up where it's easier. Control KE will clean up that. So far so good. And then if I go back to this business logic, okay, this guy's a little bit happier. Now, the only trick here is that to tables metadata, instead of table column metadata, something else here should be freaking out. So this should be table column, rightfully so. Table column should be in here. And this also should be table column.
Maybe we need to add few more fields to our table column, like this table schema, until we figure out if it's needed or not.
Yeah, yeah, just one moment, just one moment. So this table column metadata had a lot more than a table column on our side, right? I'll keep it around. I just want to get to the mapping part. Like this guy that says to table data should be returning table information,
Yeah.
right? And then this table data here, instead of doing, let's see here, this guy is taking to table data, table column information. Um, this should return table information,
Mm.
right? And then here, this will return
Table
table
information.
information, right?
Mm.
And then the only difference here is that this is a column, and this
Mhm.
should be a table column, I think. And this will be type.
Mhm.
That's it. Look,
Good.
it's like solving a Rubik's cube.
Okay.
Okay, so this guy looks okay, but the tests will be freaking out, right? Because the tests will be requiring also a model change. So here, I'll do code rub, update service models. Here, take the test. It's your turn. Have fun. See, collaboration. I do the easy stuff, you do the hard stuff. It's fantastic. So this will be, I'm assuming like all these tests will be erroring out. Yeah, look, all of these will be erroring out. But it wouldn't be as bad, I guess. I guess there will be just a place where you have to replace table metadata with table information, and that would be it, Omar. Yeah, that would be it. That little mapping that we did in there and all that. I'm actually surprised that the happy path, like the logic, doesn't freak out. Why it doesn't freak out? That's weird. You know why? Because Milan is using var when the type is not explicit. This is just another thing I just discovered about using var. It could give you this false belief that your code is building, but it's actually trying to be forgiving in types perspective. So you missed that one. Ah, that's a great,
Uh,
great argument.
JavaScript all over again.
JavaScript for you right there. Oh, I need to update that in the C# standard. But yeah, this is it.
Okay. I just need to.
So if this is failing, that's a good sign.
It's
Yep,
actually failing to build.
good. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah, yeah.
sign.
This is a unit test, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I
wherever
get
you
it.
see table metadata, if you flip it to table information, that's a good start, I think.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm. So that guy should be happy.
At least we make it build.
Yeah, at least it will build, right? Yeah, that's it. That's all it has. That's
Make sure.
wild. Let's see. I'm surprised because there should be some mapping to the columns, right?
Yeah. Okay. Let me run the tests here.
Let's run the tests. If this passes up, it's gonna be hilarious. That'd be like the yeah,
No.
it can't. There's one tiny piece missing in this puzzle. But that's a good thing. It's just one
Yep.
failing test because the rest are just validating. Okay, so it should retrieve table metadata. So this is all good. Keep going. Table table column
Mm.
metadata.
Where are you reading? Oh, here.
Line 38.
Oh, okay. So fast. Okay.
So
Yeah. So.
so see what the type is. Like if you hover over
Yeah.
to
This.
retrieve. Uh, mhm.
Yeah. So
Let
the
no no
var, you
no
mean?
no. Line 34. What's the type on to retrieve table columns metadata?
Enumerable of table column metadata.
Shouldn't this be, what would this be? This should be just table column, I think.
Um, isn't it table column or without a list of table columns? You mean?
Yeah, I thought this is just the whole, what's inside table column metadata? Like if you go inside this one, what's in it? Is this the one that has schema in it? Ah,
Yeah.
okay, we could keep this one. I think this one is okay. But if you go back, let's see, what else is the problem here for this one? What do we do with this to retrieve table column metadata? We do something with it.
Here
Mhm. There it is. There it is.
we
Scroll
pass
up.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
I found it. Do you see where it
Oh,
says
here.
table metadata? It should say
Mm.
table information.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything
And
breaking? This should say
columns
columns and then type
and
instead
type.
of data type. And then I think it's table column instead of column metadata at the type on line 67.
67
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Do you see column metadata? Make it table column. No, no,
Okay.
no. The type at the very end.
Here, okay.
Yes, sir.
Table column, yeah. Mm,
So now everyone should be happy. Let's run that test again. I think that will fix it.
yeah.
There you go. Now, the only thing is, I think the naming convention here is crazy. Like, you see how we're calling table information into
Mm,
expected table metadata and all that. That's the one thing I would just ask you to kind of take a look at. And also,
sure.
I don't know where this underscore underscore came from. It looks very weird. We don't use underscores for anything. So, unless we're ignoring a value, I guess. So just cleaning naming things, and that PR would
Mm,
be ready. I'll let you kind of, kind of snack on that,
yeah,
but that would be it, my friend. That would
that's
be
good.
that would make this clean enough for us to go build a processing service on top of it. With the processing service will be passed through, like it's not going to be doing anything smart. It's just balancing the architecture, and and then after that we can build the orchestration. What do you think? Sounds like a plan?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, my brother. Awesome. All
Thank
right.
you.
All right. Thank you, Omar. I appreciate you. Thank you all for
Bye bye.
watching. See you Monday. Take care. Bye.
Bye.